Welcome to another edition of Get Wheel. Can these lights bugger off, please? In this video, I'm going to be going through the step-by-step process that you can use to help build your commentary drive, starting off from the basics all the way up through to the complete package that you will be able to use to pass any driving test. So this video is going to be split into 4 training chapters. So feel free to skip to whichever one is more appropriate for you right now. And obviously if you want the whole thing, go through the whole thing. This video is probably most useful to those that already have some experience. If you are a new driver, you can go through the chapters step by step to help you to develop your commentary drive. And as you learn more skills, you can start to put those together. If you're more advanced, pick and choose which part you want to start from, the areas that you're most struggling with, and you can concentrate on that. These are all completely transferable skills. You can use them on any of the subjects that you are being given by your driving instructor. You could use it on roundabouts, you could use it on meeting, you could use it on crossroads. If I was to split learning into 3 basic principles, it would look something like this. Number 1, you got to have the knowledge. You need to know what it is that you need to do in order to get wherever you need to get to. Number 2, you need to practice enough to make sure that whatever you know, you can implement and you can get it done properly. And number 3, it's your head, which is your attitude, your approach, your focus. Commentary drive firmly sits within the skill element. I'm not going to be going too much into the knowledge aspect right now. So in regards to the POM routine, the MS-PSL routine, the MSM routine, I will put this all in the description below. But this video is not specifically about that. And if I did go into that, this video would go off in a completely different direction. However, I will be demonstrating those skills. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you a demonstration of how I put it all together, taking in a large complex roundabout, some general driving. Now, really do think about this as a puzzle or as a build, because you are building something or you are putting the puzzle together for it to make sense. Chapter 1 is how you can use commentary drive to help you with the controls of the car. The example I'm going to demo is I'm constantly forgetting to go back to gear 1. I'm going to use commentary drive to remind myself to go back to gear 1. You've got so many other things to deal with. You come to the junction and you forget about your gear. You go to move off and that happens. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use commentary drive to remind me that I need to go back to gear 1. And I'm approaching the junction. I'm going to remind myself to go back to gear 1. Gear 1. So your instructor is going to be helping you. However, at some point, you're going to want to do it independently. So within the controls of the car, I can use commentary drive to pinpoint wherever the problem is. I'm using commentary drive to help me to remind me with gears, but I could do it with anything. If I'm forgetting to put my clutch down, I could be reminding myself that I need to put my clutch down. If I'm forgetting to use the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal, whatever you want to call it, before I move off, I can use it. If I'm using it for signals, I can use it for that too. But that's just one example of how I can use commentary drive to remind myself to go back to gear 1. So let's move on to chapter 2. So now you're learning your routines. So your POM routine, check my left shoulder, my left wing mirror, rear view mirror, road ahead, right wing mirror, right blind spot. Your MS-PSL routine, in the next road on the left, check my center mirror, my left mirror, signal down for left, scanning across the junction, it's clear, into the new road, new mirrors. And your MSM routine. Pull up on the left, check my center mirror, my left mirror. I'm not going to signal, there's nobody here. So now you're learning your routines. Now, just to be clear, your MS-PSL and your MSM are pretty much the same thing. Again, have a look in the description below and that should give you some more information about those routines. And also look out for future videos where I'll go into those routines in more detail. Now, what you're also going to notice is you're going to start developing your visual search skills within these routines. Notice how I highlighted there are no pedestrians. I'm not going to signal, there's nobody here. This is the beginnings of you developing your visual search skills. So this is a skill that you're going to need to develop when we move on to chapter 3. Now, what is a hazard? A hazard is technically anything that you're going to need to swerve, slow down, or stop for. So basically, everything is a hazard. A parked car, a pedestrian walking across the road, a traffic light, a junction, these are all hazards. If you've ever found yourself having to brake hard because you've missed the pedestrian crossing, or a traffic light has suddenly changed on you last minute and you didn't realize. So this is where I combine visual search skills with anticipation. Now, very quickly, what is anticipation? Instead of reacting to a problem, I'm going to try and anticipate a problem may occur. Anticipate a problem, don't react. Not saying that having good reactions is a bad thing. If you've got good reactions, great, fantastic. But what I don't want to be doing is I don't want to be relying on them. I'm coming around the bend, checking my mirrors because I can't see around the corner. I see a parked car. So I check my center mirror, my right mirror in anticipation that I'm going to change position. Another parked car. Checking my mirrors, I'm looking for a pedestrian in that car. Don't see any signs of life. At the roundabout, I'm going to turn right and I see a pedestrian crossing. So I check my center mirror, my right mirror. I'm going to signal right. I'm now scanning that pedestrian crossing. I don't see anybody on the pedestrian crossing. Up ahead of me, I've got another pedestrian crossing. So again, I'm checking my mirrors. I'm scanning that pedestrian crossing. It looks completely clear. I'm going to drive on. So there you get to see me piecing it a little bit more together. So I'm still using my routines. I'm still able to do that. But what I'm now doing is I'm mainly highlighting things that I'm going to have to deal with. So the parked car, I have to change position. So which mirrors I'm going to need to check. The pedestrian crossing, which mirrors, and then obviously scanning it to make sure it's clear. The roundabout when I'm having to turn and where I'm looking. So I'm starting to manage all the different hazards in front of me. This now leads us into part 4 or chapter 4, which is reading road signs. Not only do you need them to be aware of what the speed limits are, you want to remove any doubt in your head about where you're going. If you're reading the signs and you're aware of where you're going, then it's going to greatly reduce the risk of something going wrong. Read signs just in general. Not only the signs that are going to be essential to you, but read signs that maybe are not important to you. Maybe even read street names. Read names of shops. If you want to practice reading road signs and being aware of them, you've got to practice reading while you drive. I can see a sign for a staggered crossroads. I can see a roadwork sign, parking, checking my mirrors. Now I'm going to be following the road ahead, and up ahead of me I can see a stop sign and a no right turn. I also see a sign for a pedestrian crossing. Now this sign is kind of important. If I don't come to a complete stop and it's my test, I fail. So that was an example there of how I'm using commentary drive to read road signs. Now you can focus your commentary drive on any area that you feel needs work. If you notice a recurring problem, focus your commentary drive on that. If it's signs, make sure you're reading signs. If it's not anticipating and not planning and not being ready to stop when it's coming up to pedestrian crossings, you can use it for that. If you're having a problem, for example, with the control of the car, focus on that if you're forgetting gear 1. I'm not saying that you need to be gabbling away in your driving test and on your driving lessons the entire time. But if you notice a reoccurring problem, you can use commentary drive to help you fix it. Like I said, it's a skill, and it's a skill that you can use to help you to pass any driving test that you're facing. Whether you are a learner driver trying to take your learner test, or whether you are a PDI about to sit your part 2 test. Now, as I promised, I said that I would give you a demonstration of how I put this all together, and I said I would be dealing with a bit of a general drive, and I would be dealing with large complex roundabouts. So I'm doing my 6-point check all the way around my car. There's a woman here, so I'm going to signal. Final check on my right shoulder. Turn these parking sensors off. I'm going to take this next road on the left, so center mirror, left mirror, signal left. I'm anticipating it's a little bit tight. I'm going to swan neck behind this vehicle here, center mirror, right mirror, shoulder, just in case there's somebody coming. There now is somebody coming, so I'm checking all my mirrors. He's indicating, not sure where he's going. I think going into a driveway. So again, I check all 3 mirrors, just held back there because I wasn't quite sure what they wanted to do, whether they wanted to park or not. At the end of the road, I'm going to turn left, so I check my center mirror, my left mirror, signal down for left, coming to a closed junction where I can't see. Mustn't forget my gear. Come back to gear 1, looking right, looking left, looking right, looking left. I've got this vehicle here as a shield. If I need it, at the end of the road, I'm going to turn left. The speed limit's moving into 20, so check my center mirror, my left mirror, signal down for left. I can see a pedestrian crossing on my left-hand side. It's now clear on my right. Enter the new road, new mirrors. traffic is building up. So again, I check my mirrors, there's no one behind me. Parked cars, so I'm going to check my center mirror, my right mirror as I change position. I can see the speed limit is about to change to 30. I've got a parked vehicle on the left-hand side, checking my mirrors, no one behind me. I want to keep an eye on them though. I'm coming up to a double mini roundabout. I'm going to head towards Edgware. So I've got to figure out that side. At the roundabout, that means I'm going to be turning left, so I check my center mirror, my left mirror. Looking to the right, it's clear. I'm now going to be turning right on this roundabout, so center mirror, right mirror indicate right. Got a van on my right, so I've got to give way, come back to gear 1. Vehicles from ahead should be giving way to me now, they are. Center mirror, left mirror, I don't need to signal left as there's nobody there for me to communicate with. It's a mini roundabout. I can see a parked car on the left-hand side, so check my center mirror, my right mirror as I come around it. I'm going to take the second road on the right, just past this traffic island. Center mirror, right mirror, indicate right. I can see that there's a right turning box. I'm going to use it, but I'm going to let that Mercedes come out. My signal cancelled, so I reapply. Make sure I don't cut the corner of that new road, new mirrors. There's a van coming towards me, so again, checking my mirrors. Nice and easy as I come through here. I can see a parked vehicle on the left-hand side. It's a learner driver. Check my center mirror, my right mirror. They could move off. And I'm going to follow the road ahead. Not much to say here. Center mirror, left mirror as I come around the corner. I've got a parked vehicle. Throwing my gaze further up the road, I can see a car's just moved off on the side of the road. I increase my speed a little bit. See if I can get it to gear 3 up this hill. I can see a width restriction, so again I'm checking my mirrors. I'm going to go through that width restriction. My speed's going to be very, very low as I approach. See, the Mercedes can fit. I sort of line my wheels up. I'm going to look right and left on both sides here to making sure I can fit through this width restriction. And at the end of the road here, I'm going to turn left. So I check my center mirror and my left mirror. I signal down for left. There's lots of traffic here, which is a real shame. Which is also going to make the emerge onto this particular junction, which is the apex corner, quite busy. I'm not sure if anyone's going to want to let me out. Hopefully this guy is. I'm going to make eye contact. If you make eye contact, the chances are they might let you go. Also, nudge my nose forwards a little bit. If I'm too meek, I'll never get out. So on the apex corner up in Hendon, I'm going to be turning right, third exit. I can see in front of this vehicle there's a pedestrian crossing, so I don't want to be caught out by that. So again, I'm checking my mirrors. The guy behind me is now dropped quite far back, which is quite nice. He's not pushing up on me. I don't really see any pedestrians at the moment, and I'm not signaling right yet because I've got a junction on my right hand side. I wouldn't want to confuse anybody that I'm actually turning here when I'm not. Got a nice tyres on tarmac with the vehicle in front. Checking all 3 mirrors. And I'm looking now to see when they can go. This is a good way to practice as well. So if I'm judging gate gaps, I would now say that car is going to go. I'm now looking for when this car, I think this car will go, and that, I'm very lucky folks, means I can move across. Now I'm looking for the A1S. I can see the A1S, and that's my first exit on the left. I'm going to make sure I don't cross this line here on my left, but I'm going to follow it, staying closer to it. That's my second exit. As I come round again, it says A1S. Now center mirror, left mirror, signal down for left. Check my mirrors again to make sure there's nobody coming across, and in which case I can move across like that. Now the speed limit is 50 here. I need a nice separation gap between me and the vehicles. I'm not going to move back to the left yet because of that bus. I'm now going to look to move back to the left, so center mirror, left mirror indicate left. All those cars have been terrorizing that poor learner driver up ahead. Not very nice. Now, I'm not going to overtake yet because I can now see a sign for a roundabout. At that roundabout, I'm going to be following the road ahead. Now up ahead of me, I can see that the traffic lights are green. I can anticipate they may change. They've been green for a long time, so as I approach this, I'm just going to start slowing the car down a little bit, just in case they change. They do change, and I was ready to stop. If I hadn't have been anticipating there, I would have found myself probably accelerating or not coming off the gas early enough, and then having to brake really hard. If you want to find out what that would mean on your test, check out my driving test report explained, and it will go through where that fault would lie. Go past this exit here, check my center mirror, my left mirror, signal down for left. I see a sign for a pedestrian crossing, traffic light. I'm looking for pedestrians on that pedestrian crossing, and then off I go. So that's it, guys. That was a commentary drive involving the apex corner up at Hendon. I demonstrated a right third exit. So I was thinking about my controls and what gears I was going to need for the particular junctions. I was thinking about my MSPSL routine and all my other routines, my MSM and my POM. I was reading the road signs to be aware of exactly what's happening, and I was using my anticipation and planning. Now I know I've put those chapters in slightly different orders, but all the 4 chapters are there. Also, if you do end up taking your test at Hendon, that's how you do right third exit on that particular roundabout, although I was very lucky that there was no traffic coming from the right hand side when I had to enter. If you like what you've seen here, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, and then you'll know when the next video is coming out. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next one.